Hello, and welcome back to XRP Vault, where we bring you the most recent and intriguing XRP news. We're giving away 10,000 XRP to those who are watching. All you have to do is upvote, subscribe, comment XRP is king and watch the video to the end to be eligible. The winners will be picked next month and publicized on the community page of the channel. We recently learned brand new information from a senior Ripple employee that the SEC issue may be resolved much sooner than most people anticipate. Many members of the XRP community, like James K. File and Jeremy Hogan, have been mentioning the end of the lawsuit in March. But we have recently received confirmation from a Ripple member that this month will most likely be the conclusion of the case. There is a really important point that not many people are paying attention to that I want to go over in this video, which is why I want to discuss why this case might conclude in March. At the conclusion of the video, I also want to discuss central banks and Ripple effects. We recently received a significant update on Ripple's ambitions to rule the central bank digital currency market from Brad Garland House. That's what we're going to discuss in this video, so be sure to watch it through. Beginning with some recent breaking news, I'd want to discuss it in this video. Store Elderati, the chief legal officer at Ripple, has confirmed that summary judgment is expected any day now and might occur by the end of the month. This is now the second person to confirm that a summary judgment is anticipated in March. Nonetheless, she will be the first insider and the first significant participant to follow this case. Now that I've heard it, I understand what a lot of people are thinking. Is this just a day that folks are throwing around at random? What specifically about March makes summary judgment so likely? I also struggled for a time to comprehend why March was so exceptional. And all these conflicting forecasts regarding when we would receive a summary decision left me feeling a little perplexed. Each of us is pointing to the March. But as we can see by Stephen right here, you should be aware that March 31st has a significant meaning. In essence, the way courts operate is that judges are given a set amount of time to rule on cases before they are, in essence, placed on a late list. Truth be told, I know very little about the late list itself. Yet I do recall in the past using this late list to estimate when a graded horse would decide. In essence, people find out what the judged horse's final decision date is, and they then practically make a prediction just before that date. Judge Torres has never been on our list before. But what we do know is that she consistently issues decisions on time. As a result, we anticipate that trend to continue. What we do know right now is that today is the last day on which Judge Horse can rule without using a summary judgment. Nevertheless, many have projected that a summary judgment decision will be made on several other rather significant matters by March 31st. On the same day that James K. filed a projection that the matter would be resolved, Roddy, a store elder, is now forecasting that we will see a summary judgment result. As far as we are aware, Judge Torres must provide substantial responses by March 31st. Otherwise, she will be added to this late list. We also know that Judge Torres has never been put on this late list, so it is very likely that she will try to make a decision on these crucial matters before this deadline. James K. has since entered the case, and it appears that Stuart Alderati is now forecasting that Judge Torres will simply issue a blanket decision. Before March 31st, she will make all the decisions necessary to avoid being added to this late list and to decide on a summary judgment. This makes a ton of sense, in my opinion. And I'm now beginning to understand why so many people are anticipating that this case will be resolved before March 31st. Of course, no one is capable of predicting the future. But this makes a lot of sense to me and at the very least provides further background for why everyone believes that this case is about to come to a close. We must now wait and observe what takes place. But it actually does mean that Judge Torres can now issue a decision on summary judgment on any given day. But if we wait until March 31st and there is still no decision, I believe all bets would be off at that point. Judge Torres suddenly becoming unconcerned with time would be pretty dangerous, in my opinion, but I have a feeling that won't be the case. Now, another thing I want to mention is that Restore Eldorado, which I know people despise to watch, also came out earlier today and discussed the Supreme Court once more. So in essence, Stuart Eldorado was stating that he was very certain that he would prevail at the Supreme Court level even if we lost, which I believe everyone currently believes to be unlikely. I am aware that many people don't want to hear this, but it's crucial to understand that this case does not necessarily need to be appealed to the Supreme Court simply because Stuart Eldorado mentioned it. In fact, I believe that is extremely improbable. I believe there is a chance that the Supreme Court could learn the details of this case. Judge Torres will nonetheless make some choices in the end. In that, I feel very confident. And it's highly likely that she will decide on secondary sales before the case ever reaches the Supreme Court, with Eldorado maybe just discussing specific Ripple sales at that level. And to be quite honest, Ripple could not be in a better position right now. In fact, a lot of people assumed Ripple would be in a far worse situation the moment this case was filed. And nearly every single attorney, even attorneys who previously worked for the SEC, is coming out and claiming that Ripple has completely destroyed the SEC. Stuart Eldorado is probably just referring to the Supreme Court as a place where, even if we lose there, we still believe we have a chance of winning. Thus, there is no need to be concerned. We will come out on top. And to be honest, I believe that mentality is the best one you have because it puts a lot of pressure on the SEC. Keep in mind that the SEC opposes his rollover and causes ripples in the majority of corporations. They must therefore exert pressure on the SEC in order to demoralize them. As a result, I want to go on and discuss some incredibly exciting information that we recently received from Ripple because it appears that the SEC's plan to keep this firm back is ineffective. We have learned straight from Ripple that they are now active in more than 70 nations. That is so thrilling. And I think it just makes it more obvious than ever that the SEC's case is not calming the waves. I must admit that I was somewhat concerned about this. When I originally learned about this case, I didn't care about its merits, or whether Ripple was right or wrong. Simply out of fear of the SEC, other countries were going to quit cooperating with Ripple. The US is the world's largest financial market, and a lot of authority is held by their regulators. I anticipated that many businesses would stop collaborating with Ripple, even if they weren't based in the US, out of fear of the SEC. I anticipated that many businesses would just believe that the US regulator was correct and lose faith in Ripple, but the opposite is actually occurring. And the exponential growth of Ripple. In addition to this news, we also learned that Ripple is now collaborating with over 20 central banks. Show me another cryptocurrency initiative that collaborates with 20 or more central banks. I'm not even aware of another cryptocurrency initiative that collaborates with multiple parties. This news is quite exciting, and it demonstrates that many of the current SEC-related events are simply unimportant to these influential actors. Several major players use XRP and Ripple because they use fundamentally superior technology to what is currently available. As of right now, the thing we can see that is most bullish is this, and I constantly repeat this. No matter what happens with unmanageable regulation, we need to know that XRP is a good option and that Ripple offers quality products. We need to know that the XRP ledger is a good solution for carrying out these high-level business transactions for cross-border payments. And what we're seeing is that this technology is so good and efficient that all these different businesses, central banks, and governments are willing to ignore the STC space in order to continue working with Ripple. This is incredibly positive for our thesis. This only serves to further demonstrate that we are dealing with a top-tier organization right now. And I believe it's crucial to note that a lot of people have been overly preoccupied with the bad aspects of this case. But once this case is resolved, XRP will be the first digital asset with certain clarity for trading in the United States, a status that no other cryptocurrency has. This will be extremely bullish because all financial institutions, government organizations, and central banks that wanted to work with XRP but were hesitant to do so due to its ambiguous status will suddenly have the clarity they need to work with it. This is a feature that no other cryptocurrency will have. And that's where this case abruptly changes into a bullish event. Suddenly, Ripple won't be held back by this case. Instead, Ripple will be propelled into the next generation of the cryptocurrency industry, and will finally be working in the regulated sector. And only XRP will be able to function in that status and location. It is crucial to comprehend this because, despite arguments that the case has hindered the success of Ripple in some ways and that delisting XRP has negatively impacted its liquidity, among other things, we must realize that XRP is the closest cryptocurrency to receiving the necessary regulatory support. And once this legal matter is resolved, it will significantly boost XRP's price. I believe that many people are underestimating the fact that XRP will soon be the only cryptocurrency on the market that regulated institutions can use with ease. I find it hilarious that some people still refer to Ripple as a fraud today, and that we continue to refer to XRP as a funding source exclusive to the firm. I believe what has been demonstrated during the course of this lawsuit is that not even the SEC was able to provide evidence for why RIP was a terrible corporation. And I believe that this will end up being the company's last audit. As a last check, we see that Ripple is taking all the necessary compliance measures. After this is complete, XRP will take center stage as the main financial instrument in our financial system. Nevertheless, I truly appreciate your visit and hope you enjoyed this update. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you did. It would be greatly appreciated.